Hello and welcome to podcast number 6, post Saudi Arabia, which is What a Crazy Grand Prix. I am Yusuf and this is my co-host Muhammad.
Yeah.
And this is our, we're the Drive to Survive, Drive to Survive. Oh my god, we're the Dirty Side of the Grid podcast. Because we came late to qualifying and we were on the dirty side of the grid.
It's so late, some might even call us Drive to Survive fans.
Oh my god, that was embarrassing.
I will use it that one. Right, let's keep going.
What a crazy race. It was a really good race.
Some might say.
But really action-packed, a lot of controversy, a lot of stuff to cover.
Yeah.
Anyways, I guess you have to take it away.
Yeah, we'll try and rein it and see what kind of topics we can cover. See if we can mention a lot of the stuff, because there was loads of controversy in there. But I guess we'll start off completely unrelated, as we normally do, with your thing of the week this week. If you've got like a fun fact.
So this is the first championship where the drivers going into the last race are essentially on equal points since 1974. So these are the only 2 times in history where going into the final race it's been equal on points. I think that actually says a lot about the championship this year with all the controversy and everything. It's been so exciting.
Yeah.
Like if you're getting into Formula 1 this year, you've literally chosen the best year in the past 10 years. So.
Definitely.
Best year, because it's not been a team dominating or anything. It's been a back and forth between the teams. You've got controversy. You've got kind of a team stepping over the line. Maybe this team stepping over the line crashes. To compare, I don't know. It's really interesting, isn't it? You're getting a lot. It reminds me of watching James Hunt and Niki Lauda. I don't know why the movie where they're at each other's throat the whole time. This is what it kind of reminds me of. It's not maybe that intense because none of them went into fiery ball. But
Yeah, that was the year Niki Lauda had his infamous accident. But in general, there's been all sorts. We've had everything this year. It's all happened. We've had
new tracks.
Yeah, we've had new tracks. Obviously, the calendar's still trying to recover from COVID. We've had, statistically, the greatest driver of all time fighting with the driver who's not even at his peak yet, but on his way to reaching it. Obviously, I don't know why it's lying, bro. It's true. I'm just saying because it's part of it. Realistically, we've, clearly the greatest of his generation going up against the new generation. Maybe even the greatest of the new generation potentially could become the greatest of all time.
Yeah. Okay.
There are big narratives going into this year. There's big stuff. F1ers, Liberty Media have somehow got really lucky with this one. They've pulled it out. It's like F1ers come in, got a quick haircut, suit and tie.
No, but
looking best for the new fans.
But there is one thing that Christian Horner mentioned that I actually agree with. He was saying that if Charlie Whiting was here, what happened yesterday would not have happened. And I totally agree.
I agree with that too. We'll get into that. It's a little harsh on Masi, poor guy, but he's not wrong, really.
Realistically,
we'll start off.
We'll start off.
You know what? We'll start it off as we normally do. I feel bad for you this time because it's actually going to be a struggle, but we'll see how you do.
60 seconds.
You do pretty well normally.
Okay.
60-second summary of this weekend's action.
Okay.
Starting now.
No. You zero it, and then when I start talking, you start the timer.
Fine, right, go on.
So I can.
Oh, okay, yeah. You don't gather your thoughts for too long, bro.
Okay. I haven't started. I'm just.
Come on, I'm gonna start the timer now. Come on.
Okay, so. 1, 2, 3, go. Max almost gets pole, but for the first time in the year, he actually makes a mistake, crashes. Lewis gets pole. Red Bull had the quicker car in 1 lap. Mercedes had the quicker car over the race distance. We start the race, red flag. Mercedes screw the strategy. Max gets the jump on them, starts, and then what happens? I forgot. Ocon overtakes both Lewis and Max, goes into first position. Had another red flag. Lewis basically starts ahead of Max. Then Max overtakes Lewis and Ocon, leads the race. Lewis crashes into Max. Charles and Sainz have the incident. Fernando spins. Lando goes to the back of the grid from 5th or 6th. And then we have the incident with Lewis and Max hitting each other. Then Lewis overtaking Max, and then Lewis winning the race.
53.
Oh, okay.
No
I
way.
thought because you pressed, I
Wow.
thought I was out of time.
No,
You
no,
kept
no.
going.
Oh, it's because you looked at me. I thought you stopped.
No, because you pressed it before I stopped. Because I thought the time was over, and you're just letting me finish what I was saying.
No, I didn't press anything until you looked at me, and then when you looked, I pressed it. And you were
To be fair, there's not really much else to say.
You were pretty much done.
I even commented on Lando and Fernando. Oh, the only thing I'd add is Daniel Ricciardo did really well.
True, yeah. And a
You got
Bottas
it.
on the line as well.
Yeah,
But, I mean,
Bottas
that
on
was
the line.
right at the end, so you might have even hit that if I didn't cut you off slightly. But that was pretty good. So,
Bro,
we
I'm
will...
too good at this, bro. I'm too good at this.
You're not even going to be tested in Abu Dhabi. It's going to be like whoever wins the title, and that's it. Like,
Yeah, Max
that's
is going to
the
win the
race
title.
well,
Hopefully-
we'll get into the predictions
hopefully
later.
Max wins the title.
You're so smug, you know. The little smile you have when you say that. Right, so, without getting
I
into
just,
details,
I just know it annoys you so much.
that's it. This is the one thing that they get me mad. Right, so,
Okay.
without getting into details then, we're going to try talk about the race in general, just as a whole, because at the end we're going to have to summarize and talk about Abu Dhabi. So, as a whole now, without getting into details of specifics and stuff too much, did you enjoy the race?
I think it was a lot of fun. I think you can say like there was everything in the race. Great overtaking, lots of drama, controversy. The only thing I would comment on the race is like George commenting on safety, which I don't think it's actually down to the racetrack because I think Monaco is maybe a bit like same kind of like not maybe same because it's a bit slower, but like maybe Singapore because it's maybe as quick, or Baku is as dangerous. But I think the only reason they're not as dangerous is because the stewards have raced there, and so not the steward, sorry, the race director. I don't get why Michael Masi did not stop. Like after the incident happened, they went 4 laps. People pitted. Obviously, people are gonna pit, and then he called a red flag, and then he called another red flag. The second red flag was because of that incident, like the start of the
Perez.
race.
So the first one was Mick Schumacher.
But
the second one was
even then, the
Perez.
track wasn't like I get those incidents, but it felt like it was a bit mismanaged, and like you got like 4 or 5 VSCs, is it not 4? Like
It was 4
it was
VSCs.
4 VSCs. Why? Because you can just call out a safety car, clear out the track for like 1-2 laps, and then get going. Don't call out 4 VSCs, and it's just useless, and it's stopping the racing. Like Lewis is closing in on Max, who's starting to get drama VSC. Lewis closing in on VSC.
I was thinking this. It ruins the flow.
Boring.
Really.
It
does ruin
ruined
the flow.
I think that's why if someone says they dislike the race, I don't think it's because of the red flags. I think the red flags add a lot of drama into the race. You can argue about like should they be allowed to change tires under the
We'll
like a
mention
red
that more
flag,
later,
but
yeah.
that's a bit different, like a different conversation. But I think the red flag adds a bit of kind of dynamic interest into it. But I'm talking about like VSCs ruin it for me, and safety cars ruin it for me.
I'd say when the VSC is overused, yeah. Because the VSC by itself is meant to be.
VSCs this time has been used like 4 times, and they used it because he like just call out a safety car, clear out the track, get going. He's not doing that. He's not calling a red flag. He just keeps calling VSCs because they're not. The marshals don't have enough time to clear out the track. Whether that's down to the marshals are not being trained well enough, because there's
They're not used to it.
400 marshals went over from Qatar to train the guys. Bahrain, sorry.
Yeah.
So there is maybe an argument of that, but Qatar as well was a new track.
They said the
new
blind
marshals.
corners as well would have been a struggle for them.
Yeah, but I think that this is where the argument of like why are you using a VSC not a safety car? If they use a safety car, you bunch up. The marshals know the car's on the other side of the track. He goes, picks up everything, and
They have a
leaves.
lot of time.
A lot of time to clear. Whereas with the VSC, the cars are all over the track, and the marshals, you can see one of them like he jumped on track to pick up like it was like a very close to a racing like piece of debris from like a front wing, and he picks it up and he jumps back, and you can see like they're scared to jump on the track to get the debris because they don't know where the cars are. Get a safety car, bunch them all up, tell the stewards you're allowed to go on from here to here. No, you're not allowed, get off. Like do a light system, green, red, for them to jump on, clear the track, jump off. I think the fact is, with this racetrack, like as opposed to all others, is with others where crashes tend to happen, you can see the car coming, so you can, oh no, I can't go, I have to jump back.
Yeah.
With Saudi, it's not the straight line. It's not even like that. It's not the first 1-2 corners. It's after that. After that, it's mostly like blind corners the whole way.
Yeah.
And
There's not a lot of
except
straight
like the last corner maybe. And so you essentially, it's not about straight. It's about like the fact that the barriers. If there are no barriers, it's not that much of an issue.
Yeah.
The barriers block your view of the cars coming. The marshals are too scared to jump on. Makes sense because like.
You
I
can't
don't want to
trust the
get hit
GPS
by.
as well. You need to be very accurate.
Exactly, I don't want to get hit by a car going at like, well, it's still even 40% is like 140 kilometers an hour or a bit more. So, I blame this, like the Michael Masi. Like, I guess he it's like a new racetrack and all of that, but the way he did it was not.
It was, yeah, some of the stuff, so there's a lot of conversation about how we run it. And I'd say some of the stuff was understandable. We'll get into it later. Some of the stuff was a bit questionable. I'd say the one thing, though, the ironic thing is, the VSC was introduced in 2016 to not ruin a safety car. You imagine, without the VSC, there's one bit of front wing on the track. In a relatively dangerous place. There's no gaps on the circuit for the marshal to just hop on with yellow flags. Entire safety car comes out. You have all the cars bunch up. You have to wait for them to bunch up. Then you have to wait for the lapped cars to overtake, because that was a rule. Like, the lapped cars will have to go past, then create enough of a distance between them and the safety car. Then the safety car comes in and they do the restart. That's like 5 laps gone. Also going at a slower speed, which means that's like a good 20 minutes or whatever, or 15, maybe less.
Of the race time as well.
Of the race time, yeah.
2 hours.
So you've got all of that going on. So the VSC was introduced. It's like, you know, it's a bit quick. You turn it on, they're going slower, quickly hop out, get the stuff, come back, turn it off again. But the fact they used it off and on. And to be fair to them, there was more debris coming off. Like Vettel after he crashed with Sonoda and Kimi. There's obviously more bits flying off. Lewis's car, I think, had less significant bits, but still bits of his front wing coming off. So it was being accumulated, but even then at the same time, like, you don't need like... There was definitely a more optimum way of doing it rather than 4 VSCs, because they were all within a very small period of the race.
It also depends on the track. Like, if you're a track like, say, France, and there's a VSC, not really an issue. I can see the cars, I can jump on. And like Monza as well. You feel safe jumping on. With Saudi, you can't see the cars. Even Qatar, Bahrain, all these tracks, you can see the cars you jump on. But I think what we've seen from the last 2 tracks is there were issues with... I don't really blame the marshals, but you can see kind of... They've not done this before. Even Qatar. You saw like the whole double wave, yellow flag not popping up, all that stuff. Yeah, because you're hiring volunteers that have not been trained to do the jobs. It's not their full-time... Like, I guess you don't want to hire...
They really should get paid, yeah. Really
but like, you're hiring volunteers that have not you've not trained them. You have to get guys train so they can do the job properly. Like, ideally you'd have like the marshals going around the world with them. Not really.
Maybe.
Not possible. Have 2 groups, 3 groups of like, okay, you guys will do like, say, 10 races, or like 7, or whatever, where one group will do like maybe a bit extra. Then it makes a bit more sense. But if you say like the marshals, like Saudi had literally, the marshals did not know what they were doing. I don't blame the marshals.
I'd say
it's more about the Qatar incident.
I'd say they were following instructions given to them, which were a bit like the instructions weren't exactly.
But you also have to say, like, I blame the FIA for this. Like, you should have, like, you have professional everything, and when it comes to marshals who are actually risking their lives,
treat them better, realistically.
Yeah, but I'd say that's the same point. It's like, you know, when they're jumping on the track to get the debris. If you've been under these conditions before, you know, for instance, when to go, when not to go. You're listening maybe for the car. Is the car coming? Is the car not coming? This type of stuff. But these guys have never done it before. I can imagine, like, if one guy missteps because he's not ever done this before, that's one guy getting hit by a car going at like at least like 150, 200 kilometers per hour.
So you don't like the idea of... I like the idea of having locals doing it, though.
No.
I like the idea of...
Fair enough, have locals doing it, but they need to be trained well enough to do it.
So the track should have been... I mean, this was part of the conversation. Like, the track was signed off by Masi on a track walk on Thursday morning, which is the day before the drivers were
Yeah,
out
let's
for
not
practice.
get into that because I'm just
That
going
is
to rant
ridiculous.
about the safety. Yeah, like,
I can't believe it. They gave the green light. So the green light meant to come 4 months ago, or 30 days ago. Yeah, 4 months ago. Came the day before the cars were out on track.
Yep.
They were still delaying F2 races, F2 qualifying, F2
Yeah.
practice, all of that stuff, due to the fact that buildings, like, there were leaks in paddocks, stuff like this. So it's not a good look. And the worst part is, the next race is the second one on the calendar. It's directly after Bahrain, which means it's going to be around mid-March time, mid to the end of March.
Oh no.
And this is I was going to mention this later, but we'll mention this now. If 400 of the marshals came over from Bahrain to help out with this race, and, you know, they have however many months or whatever, does this mean now they're going to be able to find enough volunteers from Saudi to help out with this race? Or are they going to have to somehow manage to fly over the marshals from Bahrain straight over to Jeddah within a week? Because they're back-to-back races, which means the marshals will have to go from the race on Sunday, you know, they go to bed or whatever, finish, and then it's Monday morning. Will those volunteers then have to fly over to make it for Friday
I guess
practice
there is the argument
in
that, like,
Jeddah?
they've done a race before, so. But I don't think Saudi is such a harsh track to have marshals who've never marshalled before on.
True. So would you say they need?
I
Like,
think for
could
that,
you see them flying over like all 400 again
yeah,
straight after
to be
for
honest,
back-to-back
yeah,
races?
To be honest,
That probably would be easier than getting
Yeah.
more volunteers.
to be honest, like there are very few tracks that you look at on the calendar that you're like, okay, that track needs like specific marshals who know what they're doing. Saudi is definitely one of them where you're like, you can't have like guys who don't know what they're doing because they just get hit by a car.
True. Yeah, and we don't want to see that happening to anyone because
I still
It's
think
bad.
they should introduce a system of green, red, jump on the track. A car is too close, get off the track.
traffic lights are jumping on.
Yes.
That's an idea. To be fair, they could use the. I actually know those panels are for the drivers. There could be something else. I'm sure they communicate with radio and stuff between
but-
marshals, but there's definitely work that could be done there. And I would like the FIA to be more transparent with what they're doing in that sense.
I think the idea that he signed on a Thursday is just like absolutely insane to me.
Yeah.
The fact that the track, they had not inspected the track, they had not made sure the track was fit enough for racing, and they're not even having just F1 on they had F1 and F2 this week.
Yeah.
F1 and F2, and you've not actually looked at the track. Okay,
No,
move on.